to offend Americans. Americans are macho people who believe they can win wars on the ground. If you send the 5,000, they sent 5,000 Marines to the area to try to deal with that island where all the oil is, near the island Khartoum or something like that, near the Strait of Hormuz. If you send your boys there, you're going to have a televised slaughterhouse. A lot of people will say I'm being unpatriotic. No, I'm just telling the truth. We're not saying that American Marines aren't brave. They're brave. We're not saying that they can't fight. They can fight. But if they go there, with the way warfare has changed, you're going to get slaughtered. And all of the Iranian soldiers have cameras everywhere so that they can live feed it to TikTok, to Instagram, and you're going to see your boys getting slaughtered. And let me tell you why. It's just the nature of warfare. We're not trying to say America can't fight, but it's the nature of warfare. If they come in, the Marines are coming in, air support is going to be useless because the missiles that are going to be shooting at them and also the speedboats with bombs that are going to be coming in them are hidden in caves and under the ground. So how are your American airplanes going to provide cover? Because we know that American airplanes, they're not going to be shot down by missiles. That's not what Iranian warfare is about. It's not about attacking airplanes. It's about attacking interceptors and also sending direct drone and explosive missiles to areas where troops are so they get blown the hell up. They'll send it to a central area rather than aiming for back in the old day machine guns aiming one on one per person. They'll look for where there's a mass of Marines, send a missile there which has a heavy load and it explodes. The airplanes won't be able to stop that. And they won't traditional airplanes bomb areas where the troops coming in are and where they can see their artillery. The artillery is going to be under the ground, it's going to be up in the mountains, and also the people who do the drones, they have to be nearby. They're going to be like 5 kilometers away, and they're going to come off so they can get the right frequency, set off the missiles and everything, then quickly drive into caves and quickly try. And they seal the caves up so that the Marines can't get in. And the thing is that if you once they get into the caves, you can't bomb them unless you have airplanes that can send missiles into those caves. But those caves are so well fortified, so they're not going to have any cover for the Marines. And as I said, what will be happening is the traditional war that I mean the new style of warfare, the one that the U.S. has been using. I mean that Iran has been using to take out interceptors and to take out locations where they send a swarm of cheap missiles and drones to take out the interceptors, because there will be some types of things like interceptors and things, or just to first of all soften the area. Then after that, they bring in their heavy loads, and all of these things are cheap. And there's not going to be anything to help America. They're not going to be able to have a radar base close by. They can't have a radar base close by. They'll have some ships which have to stay far away from the shores. So they're really not going to have any answer. These guys are going to be left. It's going to be like shooting fish in the barrels. There's going to be Marines on land, and then what will happen is the U.S. Iran is going to use its missiles also to take away the carriers that are supposed to carry the Marines off of the island. And the U.S. says that they have interceptor missiles on those things that can take down 90%. We know that's a lie when we look at the MIT professor Postal, but even if it's not, it means 10 out of every 90 missiles shot by the Iranians is going to be taking down boats, which are supposed to bring the Marines off. So they're going to be trapped on there, and there's not going to be any way to get them out of there because of this style of weaponry. So this style of warfare. So here's what I'm saying. There are going to be ships which are supposed to take the guys off. The Iranians are going to send cheap drones and missiles at those ships. The ships will send their interceptors. But what's going to happen is after they use up their interceptors, now they send another wave of missiles. And even with the interceptors, we've seen that Iran now has decoys where the missile they send to strike the ship will break into different parts, and the radar of the ship won't know which one is the actual missile. So all of that's going to come into play where now rather than targeting bases in the UAE or sites in Israel, they're targeting the ships, which is supposed to take the Marines off. And they'll probably be doing it to the ships while they're bringing in the Marines. So Americans, you guys are warriors. You can fight, but you don't have the brains right now to beat Iran, or you don't have the tactics. This is going to be a bloodbath, and it'll be live on Instagram. And Trump is going to be hiding somewhere because people on the streets are going to be coming after them because their children are dying or are either stranded on an island. And even if they hold the oil, what are they going to do now when they have no ships to take them out? And how are they going to transport the oil? This wasn't well thought out. What are your thoughts, Falabi?
Yeah, it wasn't well
That
thought
was
out at all. And a lot of the US allies that are Trump, I hear Trump is requesting for help from some of the NATO countries. They are reluctant to help. Some have said
yeah.
outrightly they are not going there because they can see the clearer picture. I mean, this is a very narrow area, at best maybe 33 kilometers wide. And if you look at this area geographically and topographically, this is a place that does not really favor the US. A lot of the area there is mountainous coastline. And Iran has spent decades building anti-access systems there. There are mobile anti-ship missiles there. There are underground missile storage sites. There are drone boats and naval mines, as well as small, fast attack crafts. So these are things that, I mean, the Iranians are battle ready and they understand this terrain. And if you look at this kind of dangerous operation, amphibious operations are usually very, very risky. And like you mentioned too, these amphibious personnel are most vulnerable when they're landing. When they're landing their craft, helicopters and amphibious ships, they could be targeted by very cheap and effective drones firing at them. So this is going to increase the casualty numbers. Plus the fact that they can even have cameras on site that will be giving Washington online real-time images of casualties, increasing the pressure at home, which is also a psychological way to prep up the crisis. So this is an ill-advised operation. I don't know if they can still get into Donald Trump's brain, but this looks like a catastrophic miscalculation of immense proportion. I don't see how they're going to go in and come out smiling, really.
Here's your mistake. You're thinking analytically here. You're talking about Donald Trump's brain. You're forgetting. If they looked into his soul, they would see they're going to lose. Let me tell you why. Because he's the one, like Hex has said, who is the Messiah, who's bringing in the Armageddon, right? So once they look into the soul, they'll see that Trump is the chosen one, and America's going to win because tactics don't matter. God is on their side. I'm not joking. You understand what I'm trying to say?
I
You just
understand what
broke it
you're
down.
saying.
There's no tactical way, but America's going to win because, as Hex had said, Deo Levote, it's God's will. Let's see how that happens. Look, you know what they say? There's this verse in the Bible where God says, "Do not tempt me." It basically means don't try to call me to save you, right? And then God said, "Sorry for cursing. If you try to tempt me, fuck around and find out." You get my point? And I'll end with this. Trump has sent and deployed 5,000 Marines. I don't think he's going to put them there. I think he's trying to scare the Iranians. But we also said, I don't think he's going to attack Iran because he can't win. And he did it, right? This is
Sure.
a very pivotal point. Only 12 or 13 Americans have officially died in this war. If you send those boys onto that island, it's going to be a bloodbath. Falabi, last thoughts and take us out. Yeah.
Yeah, and I like the way the Iranians are facing this crisis. I mean, is their strategy is more political than military, in the sense that
Yeah.
their strategic objective is they want to raise the cost of intervention for the U.S. They
Yeah.
want to break the alliance of the U.S., fracture the U.S. alliances, and it's obvious that Washington cannot guarantee maritime security. You can already see some of these countries negotiating directly with Iran instead of
Yeah.
relying on the U.S.
And,
naval protection. So you can see
and
that
Falabi,
it's a win. It's a win for
yeah.
Iran.
Yeah. And Falabi, there's one rule. So the guiding rule when you do your PhD in geopolitics is that money and wealth and economic security and it's all political actions and alliances are not ideologically. They're based on economics and practicality and real politics. All of the people who have been allies of America, now it's going to be proven that it wasn't ideological. It was because of the dollar dominance and the fact that the US had the muscle and weaponry to control economies and help people. So now that they see that that doesn't work and they're getting hurt economically, like the president of Canada does, they're walking away from America. This is the first principle. Like, in physics, they have principles. There are certain fundamental axioms. The first axiom in geopolitics is that countries only act in self-interest. They don't
Of
act based
course.
on ideology.
Of course.
When dealing with other countries, it's not ideological at all. So what Iran has done and what Russia has done by helping them in China is shifted the world closer to BRICS. And now the US is going to find out that it has no friends. Also, Russia and China have no friends. There's no such thing as friends. There's only what's practical for your country. We're still in the age of fossil fuels, so America loses. Take us out of Falabi.
Yeah, so basically, it's been a wonderful show. And I think the allies of the US too are realizing that they never really had a friend in the US. They only had a big brother that was milking them of their resources. And for Mustafa and myself, we'll be back again with another interesting political story. Bye for now.
Thank you. But don't forget, God's on America's side, so let's watch out for that angle. There was a cheeky show. Cheeky